Greetings everyone, and particularly greetings to Owlvine, as this is a response to the tag I received from the video that you did, which is a witch tag for 2022. I believe this is originated by Ravenflower, who is doing this as her farewell tag. She's moving on to a different venue, a different channel, a different type of channel here on YouTube. She's not going away, she's just, her channel's kind of going away, I think. Anyway, this is a series of 22 questions. For those of you who are new, a tag video is just usually random questions that we want to try to get to know each other better. Some of this is a good way of getting to know new people that you don't know, or telling them a little bit about you, or whatever, things that they might want to know. Random questions, and just give the answers, and it's just for fun. Not a lot of information here, just meant to be for fun. And it's been a while since I've done a tag video, and I was happy to be tagged. Thank you very much, Owlvine, for tagging me. The first question is about New Year's resolutions. The first two questions, actually, the first question, do you believe in them? And secondly, why or why not? Well, first of all, it was very timely. I just saw a meme about New Year's resolutions that I thought was funny, that said, my 2020 New Year's resolution is to finish all the craft projects from 2021 that I should have done in 2020, since I started them in 2019 after buying the supplies for them in 2018. Well, I thought that was really funny, because that's me. I think that's a lot of us, I think. And I think, anymore, resolutions that's what they're for. We make fun of resolutions. It's humorous. It's humorous to make a resolution, and we say to the group, oh, this year I'm going to lose 20 pounds, and everybody, whether they secretly or do it and outwardly, laugh, because we all know that we make those kind of resolutions, perhaps, that they're half-hearted. We already have just by the very nature of making them, we've already established the fact pretty much that we're probably not going to keep them. So we don't take them so seriously. I tend to never make a New Year's resolution, but then again, I'm a witch. I would not make a resolution. If I were wanting something, I would set an intention, and that's an entirely different thing for me. I think I've done a couple of videos on that. If you want more information, you can search on my channel, but suffice it to say, I don't think they're harmful. I don't think they're exactly for me. But for one thing I want to say is sometimes it's very important for some people to make the resolution, because the very act of making the resolution somehow makes them feel a little bit like they're a little bit in charge of their life, and feel a little powerful at the moment that they make the resolution. And that's just, having that feeling is really important going forth into a new year, or going into a new whatever. That feeling of having some control, that sense of, yes, I am in control. It's a reminder, which could in itself give you a feeling of power to go on and to achieve the goals that you wish to achieve in the new year, what they be. Okay. Question number 3. That was questions 1 and 2. And I'll try to remember to post a copy of the questions down below for anybody who wants to answer the tag. Number 3 is, what is your favorite color? And then that goes along with number 4, does your favorite color hold magical or emotional meaning for you? Well, I'm a person who likes color. You can see behind me. Anybody who's seen videos of my past, you see that I use a lot of different colors, sometimes some odd color combinations people think maybe in my house. I love color. I don't always dress very colorfully, because I tend to dress, I tend to buy what fits me and what's on sale. Like I have a couple of places for my casual wear anyway, my everyday wear, that I buy certain things through a woman's plus size mail order. they, you know, women of my size don't usually have much available to them that's not ridiculous, doesn't make us look like clowns. Um, I found things that fit me, and like my shirt that I'm wearing underneath. I know what size I wear. I know what style is convenient for me every day. And I buy whatever's on sale. They'll have a clearance and they'll have some really horrific color on sale. If it's on sale, really practically giving it away to me, I will buy it. And if it's really horrible, I will over dye it. If I think of it, I can over dye it and change the color a little bit. But mostly, it doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't matter to me. I'm not of the age where people even give me a thought. I'm pretty much invisible in society at my age. So it really doesn't matter what I wear or if I wear anything at all. I joke I could go to the store in my underpants and who would notice? People might not even notice. Okay. So that being said, I don't have favorite colors. I do tend to gravitate to green. I feel like green, if this makes sense, I feel like I look at the world through green eyes because I do have green eyes, and I never thought it that way too much until it's sort of seemingly an unrelated incident. But when I was in my 40s, my hair turned gray very, very young, or a lot of gray in my hair very young. In my 20s, I started getting a lot of gray in my front of my hair, and when I was in my 40s, one of my friends thought she was doing me a favor, and for a surprise birthday gift, she made an appointment at a hair salon, and they were going to put a red rinse over my hair. You know, in those days, that was 20 years ago or so, 20, 30 years ago, all the middle-aged women or women approaching their middle age were all dyeing their hair red. I think it's still pretty much in fashion, I don't know why. But they're all becoming redheads. And she paid for the red, and I thought, well, it didn't matter to me. I really didn't care so much. So I let them do my hair red for a very short while, and I came home, and I immediately felt wrong. It looked fine. It looked nice. I got a lot of compliments on it. It wasn't that. It was a pretty color, but I felt somehow on my head, the sensation of the hair on my head felt differently than what it had felt before. I felt like my hair was the wrong color, if that makes sense. And I think from that moment on, I started to become aware of how my eyes saw. My husband has brown eyes, and I started to wonder, does he see the world differently than I see it? Because when I look out my eyes, I seem to see the world colored with a green lens, if that makes sense. And I think my husband tends to see it colored with a warmer brown lens. I'm probably just talking out my ass. It probably means nothing. I bet it means nothing. But to me, it's just a feeling. It's just a feeling. That being said, I like green. I feel comfortable with green. I feel comfortable when I have green outside, when I'm around greenery. I feel more comfortable in a land that has green than I do in a desert, a barren landscape. Which is funny, because I do live in Southern California, which is technically a desert, but we run, you know, we water things, so we have greenery. But I just feel comfortable. I feel comfortable. If I don't know what color I want something, green is safe. Not every shade of green, though. Some shades of green, not so much. My house, I tend to decorate. The color I choose is other than the colors. I have colors everywhere. But rooms in my house are not really intentionally, but they ended up, like this room is on the east, yellow. It's yellow and white, mostly yellow and white. My bedroom is a green. It's in the north. Greens and browns in there. And I have blues in the west. I had blues. I have blue covers. My whole room used to be blue. Now it's not. Oh, yeah, it is blue. Yes, it is blue. It's very blue. I just have these. My carpeting in my kitchen is red. It's red, and I have a red couch, and so, and that's in the west. So I mean in the South. I just tend to do that. I discovered it was by accident I did that. So I kind of go along with elemental colors. I'm also magically, as far as magic, yes, magic holds, so yes to emotional, color does hold emotional meaning for me, very much so. And as far as magic goes, well, the colors of my room doesn't really speak to the magic in my rooms. I do a lot of color work with candles, and if you've seen on my channel, I have even done instructional videos on how to use color in magic with candles. And I do even sell kits, magical kits, spell kits that are have a colored candle basis for part of the spell. So yes, very much so. That I'm very magically, color means a lot to me magically. So yes, absolutely yes. This is crazy. Excuse me. It's very cold in here, and so I'm having a little bit of a little sip of my scotch. Okay. Where am I? Number 5. Number 5, okay. Do you use substances for divination or meditation? In other words, flying oils, herbs, or alcohol? Well, I do use alcohol, as was evident, and you've watched my channel, you've seen me with an occasional glass of wine or two for sure. I'm a regular drinker of wine for sure. As far as using them for divination or meditation, I don't specifically, I won't say I specifically use them for that. I have absolutely. I have done, I like a meditation. I do like the clarity I get of mind for some herbal preparations, let's say, that give me a clear mind, give me insights that I might not have had in the past, help me to focus a little bit. So I do like that. As far as alcohol helps me in a way, perhaps maybe just as a relaxing. I lead a very busy, sometimes very stressful life, sometimes, and a little bit of wine or something, alcohol, before I wanted to do something like spell work or ritual work, just a little bit, helps just to let go of some of the stresses, so I'm not carrying those into my magic, into my spell work. So I would say that. Flying oils and things for astral travel and stuff like that, I do that in bed, sleeping. Any astral traveling, I do that in bed, so I'm not taking any substance for that. So I would say no to that. I'm not opposed to it. I think it's wonderful for some people, but I just have better luck doing it a different way. Okay. Let's see. Whatever. Number 7. What is the favorite part of your practice? Oh, let me see here. Favorite part of my practice, I think, would be how wonderfully magical everyday life is. How I seem to be able to find magic in nearly anything and everything around me. I tend to find the relationship between magic. I don't keep my magical life, separate from my real life. They're not two separate things. It's one life. Not to say I have chapstick on my table because I'm addicted to chapstick. In California, we all are addicted to chapstick. Everyone knows that. I don't find anything magical about that. But I do find a lot of magic around me in everyday things that people don't. I think we all do as witches. For instance, here I have a pine cone. A lot of people think of a pine cone as just a pine cone. Some people think of it as a seed. Some people think of it as a Christmas decoration. To me, it holds magical properties. There's a lot of magical properties. Okay, so that's probably my favorite part of my practice, that if I don't have one thing available to me, I can find another thing that is available to me that will serve the purpose of thing that I don't have. Okay. And that seems to, the older I get, I seem to get more of that knowledge. I seem, from my experiences and things, my knowledge has widened to include a lot of things that as a younger person I did not think were very special at all. Okay. What is the least part of your favorite part of your practice? Well, that sort of goes into it. Finding magic and everything is also the least, maybe the least favorite part of my practice, because I tend to get too much stuff. I get, when we put too much meaning on things, we seem to collect them. So many things are so useful to me, like jars. A witch will keep a jar. A witch will keep a jar. Like a good homemaker will keep a jar, but a good witch, imagine, a witch. I find a good jar. I'm not going to get rid of it. I could use it for so many different things. It has so many magical uses, and uses in my cupboards, and uses in my spell work, and uses in my it's infinite if I have on a good jar. But how many jars can we keep? How many jars can we keep, right? How many herbs do we need? How many, candles do we need? How many stones do we need, or shells do we need? Or, we seem to just collect and collect. And I have a very small room here. I'm fortunate that I have this room, but it's small. I have limited cupboard space, right? And it tends to take over my life. And I find myself shuffling things from here to there to here to there all the time. Anytime I want to use a space, there's something on that space that doesn't need to be there, and I have to shuffle it away. That's not my favorite part. Okay. How do you feel number 9, how do you feel your practice has grown over time? Let's see, I would say that, I think I have become more in tune with nature than ever. I've been more in tune with the relationships between, I think a younger me thought of astrology, tarot, right? Now I think of astrology, tarot as really being related. I thought of, those kind of things that I found to be separate. I find them to be so similar and so uniquely suited to be used together. I think when we start out practicing the craft, practicing witchcraft, we're very fascinated with spell work. I think I do more spells now than I ever did in the past, but they don't hold as much, they're not as important in my life as the everyday work I do as a witch. My everyday housekeeping. Well, I guess you would consider some of that spell work too. But I mean, like setting spells up and doing it for a particular purpose. I do a lot of things now, like I do every day, to keep things in balance, to keep things protected, to keep things flowing, to keep things, working as they should, to keep things, rather than to, just to maintain it. I call that my housekeeping, those kind of things, than I do to worry about a particular spell or whatever. I love them, and I love rituals. We still do rituals, of course, regular rituals. I love that, but it's not my end. I think there was a time where doing rituals was just about my entire practice for a little while there. Just as long as I had those rituals. Now I have the rituals, but they're not the biggest part of my practice. I don't know if any of this even makes any sense to anybody. What I'm saying, I don't know. Those of you who have never seen me before, I apologize. I tend to ramble. A little bit, go from one to another. Sorry about that. Number 10, is there a show or movie that inspires you? This was a hard one because I know people have so many. I watched, Ravenflower. I watched Owlvine. There was another woman, I'm sorry, I don't remember her name, that she had something up in the tag. And they're very passionate about the movies they see and the shows they watch. And I know they're there. I have a tendency, excuse me, to not really watch. I mean, I'm inspired by them, of course. Excuse me. I'm inspired by them, of course, but not in a way. I find them more just entertainment. I was inspired for different reasons, like I know there's a lot of witch shows about witches and things in now that we can see on Netflix or Amazon or wherever that are entertainment, but things that deal with demons and Satan, and whether it's real or imagined, I don't find that inspiring. I find it entertaining, maybe. The idea of vampires and witches living side by side in a reality. They're two different things to me, because vampires to me do not seem to be real. Witches are very real. Witches, I have a historical background, and witches are studying history, is what I mean. And witches were real people living in real places doing real magic and real healing and real spell work and growing real magical herbs and working with those kind of things. And they were real people. They weren't fantastical. They weren't fighting demons. They weren't, warring with vampires or whatever. They were real people. So to come into this and try to put it into a world where we're talking about demons or we're talking about whatever, like Charmed, wasn't that a fun show? Yes, I watched it. I, of course, watched it. Who didn't? And I was charmed by Charmed. But that doesn't resonate at all with being a witch with me. That doesn't have anything at all to do with witchcraft for me, other than the power of three. Yes, power together. Witches together is very powerful. You have one powerful witch, two powerful witches, three powerful witches. You get a bunch of witches. Look at Practical Magic. What happened? Spoiler alert if you didn't see it, but in the end of the show, they depended on a lot of women to what they were trying to accomplish in that movie. Which, by the way, I'm like everyone else. I was inspired by Practical Magic, mostly with the house. Like, who didn't want that house? We all say that, right? Frankly, though, I grew up thinking that witchcraft was real. I didn't call it witchcraft. I didn't know what it was. But, I grew up, think about when I grew up in the 50s and in the 60s. I was born in the 50s. So in the 50s and 60s, my formative years, we were told anything was possible. We were told anything is possible, And damned if it wasn't, We grew, in the 50s, we thought, when I was a little child, the moon was made of cheese. I don't know if we thought that or not, but we were told that. And then, before long we said, someday a man's going to walk on the moon, and damned if he didn't. When I was a teenager, I saw it happen. So things were possible. Things were possible. Things that we had only thought were not going to ever happen, happened. I grew up in that kind of a way. So when I saw shows as a young person, like Bewitched or something, it was of course very feasible that could maybe be true. It was feasible to me in my mind. I don't know if I thought it, I was probably old enough to know that maybe it wasn't probably true, that we're not going to just switch our nose and get our house cleaned. But the idea of somebody being magical was not so far-fetched for me. Not at all. Think about some of our childhood stories. Alice in Wonderland. Things that happened in stories, why couldn't it be true? I wasn't ever going to doubt that it could be true. I grew up with a very open mind. So when I visited all the old ladies in my town, I lived in a small town in my neighborhood, and all the old ladies that lived in, like somebody's grandmother who lived in had a bedroom in their house, or my grandmother and all her friends, or my aunts, great aunts, and they had these, and they would invite me in and teach me how to do things and show me things. And at the time, I thought they were just sweet old ladies. And as I grew older, I'm thinking, and learned a little bit more about magic, I'm thinking, well, what kind of women were these really? it's very real to me. So to try to put that against a TV show for inspiration or something is I don't. I think more likely that I would inspire a TV show than a TV show inspire me, or I would inspire a movie rather than have a movie inspire me because I'm a real witch. Okay. That being said, I love them. I really do, as entertainment purposes, mostly I love them. But I draw the line. I don't want people thinking that witches all eat dead people and eat their flesh and, or have, meet the Satan out in the Dark Lord out in the woods. That to me is not real. So that cannot really inspire me so much. Do you have see, I talk a lot. I'm sorry. You're probably ready to turn me off. I'm only on number 11. Oh, I'll go a little faster. Do you have a familiar? Well, I have a spirit animal that that chose me, selected me, found me through meditation. Not one of my pets. I do, if you don't know, I have I have dogs, I have 2 golden retrievers, and I have cats, a house full of cats, and a yard full of chickens. I really love animals a lot. Are any of them my familiar? I would have to say I'm not sure. I don't think so. 2 of my youngest cats are twins, Fezziwig and Twitchit, and both of them are very highly intuitive. They're very highly intuitive with each other. They communicate with they get the same idea at the same time all the time. They have since they were kittens, and do things together. They just behave almost like one cat, but they're 2. They are also very connected with me, that they will respond to me with, I can give them a look or a little emotion and they'll come to me. I can just say their name and just snap my fingers and they will come from wherever they are in the house to me, usually. So they're very familiar with me. But whether they're familiars and do anything to help me with my magic, I'm not sure. We've had rituals in the house and they're very interested in the ritual. But are they familiars, or are they Gladys Kravitz? That's what I'm trying to ask myself. Are they just nosy, wanting to see what's going on? I'm not sure. Okay, would you recommend any YouTube channels, number 12? Oh, I wish I could. I can't really give them here now, but what I've been trying to do, especially lately, when I give any information on a video, if I think there's somebody else that has some knowledge on that subject or has shared something about that subject that would benefit my viewers, I try to put a link to their video. So I recommend them in that way. I don't tend to just recommend channels because, number one, I have a very eclectic channel. If you're new to me, I'm a witch, and I try to I've started this method because it used to be like randomly what kind of a video I would post when I posted. Was it a witch video? Was it a tarot video? And I define the difference because I have some people who subscribe to me are only interested in tarot. And so I'm trying to help these people out. And some people that are only interested in witchcraft, but they don't care about tarot at all. So I'm trying to help people out that if I do a tarot video, a new tarot video, it will come out on Tuesday. If I do a new witch subject video, like this one I would call a witch subject, I would put that on a Wednesday. If it's just I call it a Motley Monday, a catch-up video, sometimes it's about what I'm doing in the house or just any kind of another kind of a random catch-up video, because some people like that. They like to see what my life is, what I'm doing in my life and my garden or whatever. That would be on a Monday. So I try to do that. But as a result, I have different kinds of viewers. I have people that, like the people I would recommend to you, it would depend on if there were tarot videos or like for particular witchy videos, like this, they would do this tag. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I would recommend. I'd have to give it some thought. So I would just say to look for my videos and see. And if I come up with some, I will put them in the link below if I can come up from some. Because unfortunately, a lot of the people that I watched, my favorite ones, really aren't making very many videos anymore. So can't really tag them. I mean, I could, but it wouldn't do you any good. Okay. Number 13, name something you must do daily for your mental, emotional well-being or for your practice. Something you must do daily for your mental or emotional well-being or for your practice. I think I would just have to say my daily life is my practice. My daily life is my practice. This is part of who I am. My gardening, we do a lot of gardening here, my husband and I, and that's such a part, it's so tied into our magical practice, I can't separate it. It just is. Most of my life is tied into my magical practice. I just did a video on making bone broth. It was about alchemy. It is about alchemy, transferring something that doesn't have much use to something that's very valuable and very important. You know, this is alchemy. I tend to look at my everyday life in that way. So my whole life is my magical practice, I would have to say. I incorporate tarot into it as much as I can. Not every day, but it's in my mind. Sometimes when I'll lay cards, I look at them for several days, but I don't have a ritual every day. I used to every day pull a card. I found it counterproductive for me, so it didn't work for me. Whatever. Number 14. What is something that you started as an obstacle, but you can now see as a blessing? I have to say, I don't remember what other people said, but I remember Ravenflower very clearly on this question. She was very apologetic, and because it sounds horrible to say, but COVID is what she considered, not COVID, because COVID is horrible. COVID was horrible and took many people from us, and it still has changed in our lives all the time. But I think she was talking about just having having to stop. Life was going, and COVID in March of 2020 stopped us all in our tracks, didn't it? It put us inside for quite a while. It took away a lot of things from us. It took away connections with friends, families, work, duties, outside obligations. It turned us inside. It made us go inside and made us look and see what we were all about. We saw then what we were all about, didn't we? We saw what we were made of. We saw where we were lacking. Talk about shadow work. Nobody was not doing shadow work in March 2020. Everybody was doing it. They didn't, maybe not from their choice, but it was happening nonetheless. So I want to say maybe that was a blessing. That idea of having that going inside was a blessing. It helped us to see things. I want to say though, it also was painful in so many other ways that it shattered some of our realities, some of our relationships. We thought we knew people until COVID. We thought we knew people until, fill it in. It all seemed to happen at the same time, didn't it? And so I would say that quarantining was a blessing, but COVID, no, absolutely not. Wish we could have done it another way. Excuse me. Okay. Number 15, what do you prefer? YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok? Blah, 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 or blah. Well, I have to say YouTube, I'm here. I'm here on YouTube. I've been here on YouTube for 8 years. And I've been watching YouTube for longer, maybe 10 years. Watching in this community, trying to for 10 or 12 years. But I didn't start making videos till 8 years ago, 8 or 9 years ago. So, and I've been on there, Facebook I was on, I guess, longer than that. Facebook, I have a love-hate relationship with Facebook. I love that I hate it. No, I don't mean that. I used to be on Facebook quite often. I'm finding it's more and more difficult for me to go on there. I don't know why. I think it's because I was so disillusioned with a lot of friends and family on Facebook. I think that's part of what happened to me. Or people just got, trying to do have Facebook take the place of life, and it can't be life. It's not our life. It's not even real. It's hard to tell what's true and what's not true. And it is there on YouTube. It's the same way. There are people that will believe. I had to say this. I could convince you that you are being told that blue is a color, that it's really not a color. And I could try to prove to you, and if I could find a way to prove to you that blue is really not a color, and you like me enough, and I'm convincing enough in my speech, you will leave my video thinking that blue is some false thing that you're seeing that's not even blue. This is how bad it is, that we're like being led. We have the power here on YouTube that we shouldn't have. I shouldn't have. I'm not too worried about it too much because I have a very small channel. In 8 years, I only have 4,000 subscribers, which seems like a lot, but of the 4,000 subscribers, I usually get maybe, if I get 100 views on a video, that's a pretty big deal. And I notice of the 100 views, maybe most of those views are watching 5 minutes of it or less, and my videos are 40 minutes long. So what potential kind of, I don't have any influence over people really. But some people have a great deal of influence over people and have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And that is very frightening to me, that they're influencing people and passing on false information so easily. And that scares me. So and that's the caveat with YouTube. Instagram, I use Instagram because my children, I think, made me use Instagram. They convinced me, and it's because they like it. I don't mind it. But you have to put a picture up, so I put a picture up. But if I wanted, and it's just difficult for me. I'm trying to use it, but I'm not. I fail at it too much. I just fail at it. TikTok, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is, and I really don't want to know because I can't keep up. So I don't know. I don't know. I guess I don't know. I guess I would have to say YouTube because I'm here and I like to watch. Like Owlvine, who doesn't like to watch Owlvine? Who? No, everybody loves Owlvine. Okay. What do you feel, number 16, is missing from our witchy community? That's a bittersweet for me, because I want to say the community. I know that's terrible to say that, but I've said that before, and I felt terrible when I said it before. And I know there's a lot of people that get pissed when we say, 8 years ago, blah, blah, blah. Well, I want to tell you, 8 years ago, yes, there was very much a witchy community here on YouTube. It was a community where we did video responses, and it got linked automatically. So it was almost like sending like a Marco Polo video, if that's even a thing. Marco Polo on your phone. We do this with our kids. I put it on my phone. I make a little, hi, it's mom, blah, blah, blah. Look at me, I'm cooking. Oh, look, I'm cooking rice, whatever. And hi, I love you. And then I put it off, and then my kids put a response on there, and then, oh, look, somebody put up a video, and then look, and there's Abby's response to me, right? Everybody for the family to see. That's sort of what YouTube used to be like with video responses, okay? I could say, there's Tequila, she did a video, and I could do a response directly to Tequila. Lady Grape Dancer, okay? And she could see my video or not. I don't think she ever really watched mine, but yeah. But, so there was really a community. I wasn't really a part of it. I was sort of on the fringe, like I was on the outside. I wasn't at the cool kids lunch table, but I was sitting in the next section. I wasn't out on the, the whatever. I was almost to the lunch table, not quite. And things kind of changed. A lot of things changed. And then I think the tarot community became a big deal somewhere along the line. And now the tarot community is gigantic, and it's mostly people just doing, they're sharing decks, and they're looking at pictures and walkthroughs of decks. So I kind of really don't fit into that community too much because I'm a teacher. I'm a tarot reader and a tarot teacher rather than a deck collector. And so people don't want to hear what I have to say. They want to see decks. A lot of people just want to see the decks. I get that. But I don't have a lot of decks to show people, so I'm really not in that community. I'm not a witch. I'm not a fancy young witch with fancy music and, like a lot of the rock and roll witches. I don't know what they are. These young witches now today, they're crazy, whatever. That gets views. I get that. I'm a crone. I'm just an old woman living in my house. I don't live in a shoe. I live in a house. But, you know, so I miss that sense of community. It's too it's divided. It's too divided. There's sections that are divided. But that's just because of size. I think it's size, that matters. Size matters. And also it's nobody's fault. The YouTube, the way YouTube works, certain things establish who sees, certain criteria determines who sees whose videos, and I don't even see a lot of videos of people that I'm subscribed to. I don't even see their videos. I don't really ever see them. Like on Facebook, I don't really see posts from most of my friends. I have like 400 and some friends on Facebook. I don't hardly see any of them. I haven't seen group posts on most of my groups for so long. The community sense is disappearing from all of these medias. They're so big, so big. I guess I miss it on everything. Number 17, how much space do you use for supplies and spell work? All of it. Wherever I can put things, I do. Like I said that before, I have a lot of stuff. I'm fortunate that it's just my husband and I in this house, so we do have a lot of space. But I have a lot of other interests. It's not just this. I have my whole guest room is full of fiber things from knitting and fiber work and spinning and, wool and dyeing and weaving, and that's a whole room in itself, right? I have small rooms. They're small rooms. This room is small. This is my reading room. I have things in here. I have, but I overflow. I overflow everywhere. I just have it all over the things. I have witchy supplies everywhere in my bedroom, and my sun porch, and in my kitchen, and my living room, and my hallway. I have stuff in there. It just sort of goes everywhere. And that goes along with how many altars you have in your home. I have them everywhere. But they don't stay up all the time. I used to have very distinctive this altar, this altar, this altar. I have space for a healing altar that is, when I have a healing altar set up, it's normally set up on my sun porch in the west. I have a little cupboard there that I set up all the time for healing in that place. That's my space for it, but it's not always there, just when it's needed. In here in this room, I have my main altar in here, which is always set up as an altar. But I also have a prosperity altar in the corner, and on my spell table, sometimes I set up spells, and so I use that as an altar sometimes. I have an altar in the hallway, which is a Buddha altar. I sometimes set that up and they're movable. I have outdoor altars that I use, but they're not always set up as altars. So they come and go. But I have them wherever they're needed and wherever I want them. Okay. Leave it. Get out of here. My dog is very bad. What is your favorite Sabbat? This is, you shouldn't ask me, because I'm all about the Sabbats. I follow the wheel of year very, very, very religiously. I'm even writing a book on that. I'm writing a book right now on the subject of the wheel of the year and my practice in the wheel. So they are very, very important to me. They're all, I guess you would have to say some of them are happier for one thing. I think whichever Sabbat is usually my favorite is usually the one that's coming up next. I look forward to them. Everybody who doesn't love Samhain, as a witch, we all love Samhain. As a witch, we all love Beltane. But we also have other ones. I have special ways of welcoming in every Sabbath, which is part of what my book is about, will be about. Celebrating the Sabbath, whatever it is very, very, very important to us. And to me. And to me. So, I would have to say they're all my favorite. They're all my favorite. Number 20, do you prefer tarot, runes, oracle deck, or pendulum? I have all of them. I use always tarot. I would have to say tarot is my preference. I'm best at it. I'm very knowledgeable in tarot. I teach tarot. I do tarot readings. It's a part of my daily life, really. I really, really resonate with tarot. My first deck, I still have my first deck that I got in 1971. It's still my very first deck. It's been with me my entire adult life. Runes, we have quite a few sets of runes. We're getting more into runes. My husband is more into runes than I am. But I really like them, but I'm not that familiar with them that much. I have to give some thought. Oracle decks, I don't use oracle decks usually on their own. I use oracle decks, though, in combination with my tarot cards from time to time. And the pendulum, I have a pendulum always on my table. One always on the table. I find, and I always have it in my box, my tarot box, when I do tarot out of the house, when I go out to do tarot, like at a psychic fair or something like that. I carry a pendulum with me because some people, they come to you in that way and you have 15 or 10 minutes, you give them a reading, but they ask a question, and they usually ask, like, especially the ones that didn't have a question to start out with, and they ask a question. They don't have a question. Just give me some answers. Just show me what the energies are. I will put things out, which usually lead us in a direction, which then all of a sudden they have a question. And they usually have a question that they really want a yes or no for. And it's really, I don't like to give yes or no too often with tarot cards, especially in that way. And insisting on a yes or no, we will sometimes use a pendulum in with our reading. Okay. So I use it for that purpose. Other than that, I really don't use the pendulum. Other than as fond memories for us, we used to use, as children, we used to use the same kind of a thing. We used to do things for each other, our friends, you know, like we would lay down and put them over our wrists, and it would tell us, maybe how many children we were going to have, or, you know, tell us, just answer questions about our true love, or something, or whatever. We used to use them as for fun and games. And another one of those things like a spirit board or Ouija that we learned real fast. Not really just for fun and games, is it? Not really. Okay. I'm almost at the end. I'm going to try to hurry now. I'm probably in, I don't even know how many minutes I am. Oh my goodness. Okay. Are you out of the broom closet? Number 21. Are you out of the broom closet? And, I was never in the broom closet. I don't think I was ever really in the broom closets per se. And that sounds like, how wonderful. Well, it kind of is wonderful, but I want to tell you, I never was in because I never proclaimed I'm a witch to anybody. Really. I mean, I might now, but I never did. I never said I was a witch to my family members or to close friends who were not. It's just like gradually I let them in on some information. I gradually, like maybe they noticed a little bit different things I started to have, or maybe I was paying more interest in tarot, or paying more interest in crystals or incenses, or, you know, what we do. We start to do certain things, or calling holidays by a name like a Sabbat, the Sabbat name, or talking about, you know, a god or goddess, just dropping the name in a conversation, or you know how you do, just gradually doing it. When you gradually do it, people don't really notice so much, and then by the time they work it out and they like say, wait a minute, like I kind of did with these old ladies in my neighborhood, like when I was growing up, I kind of said, wait a minute, could she be a witch? By the time they kind of work it out that maybe I'm a witch, they're not surprised by it, and they're not shocked by it, because I'm still the person that they've known all along, dropping all these little clues all along. I never did it as clues, but that's why we did it. Our parents are deceased, so that's easier. They are now, but I was the same way with them about other things. And my children were raised to be open-minded. They're very open-minded. So they know there's a lot of people that are Christian and Jewish and atheist and pagan, and that's okay with them. They don't care what they are, and just like they don't care what sex people are, or if they have a sex, or they're very open-minded. So I never went in. It's my answer. I never went in, so I never came out. I understand that people have to be from jobs and things like that, and I understand that totally. I really do understand that, and I was very fortunate that I didn't have that I really wasn't ever really in that much of a situation. When my husband maybe owned a business, we were a little bit, little more, kept it a little closer to, closer to home. But he worked with interior designers who are, notoriously very liberal people, most of them, and especially in Southern California. So I don't think they would have cared. Some of their clients were probably witches, so I don't think they would have cared. Finally, number 22, who are you going to tag in this video? Like I said in a past answer, if it was somebody that I really wanted to recommend, I would tag them. The people that I would love to tag, I think, are people who no longer make videos or who probably would not make a video. So I'm not going to bother with that. So I just want to say, if you're seeing this video, I'd love you to be tagged. Consider yourself tagged by me. And you might say, Good Wife, Rebecca the Good Wife tagged me. And then I know that, you saw this and you got the idea from me. I would love that. That would give me a thrill. But I'd love to hear answers. I hope some more people answer, because I think this is it was a fun video. And I was really happy to participate in it. And I want to thank Owlvine for, again, tagging me, thinking enough of me to tag me. That was really very kind of you. And Ravenflower, thank you for thinking up the questions and for us to do. It was really fun. And I hope to see you again in the future, wherever you are. Okay. Anyway, thanks for watching. I am Rebecca the Good Wife, and I wish you blessings.